What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the season finale of the Kevin Show. This is great old episode 16, and today we have Diecast Emporium with us.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be back.
So, last episode, Diecast Construction Expert was with us, and he showed up kind of late, maybe about 20 minutes, but this time we have him solely on, which actually, this was kind of a surprise interview. First it was on, then off, then on.
Well, actually, let's back up a second. I think you said diecast construction expert by mistake. You were, of course, referring to me, who came in 20 minutes late, fashionably late as usual. But yes, things with work have been crazy, so it's very difficult to set up a certain time. So it's kind of like, hey, let's do it now, or we can't do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, now, I had this episode already recorded, but that was before all this new Diecast Master stuff came out, and got me excited for all the new releases coming out.
Yes, and I know that obviously you have your 2 cents, and I probably have about 10 cents worth of opinions, but let's hear what you have to say first, Kevin. It's your show.
Well,
what's your on the catalog?
First off, we have the big one, the Cat 335 FLCR, but this one will feature a blade. Unfortunately, honestly, I've never seen a zero-tail excavator with a blade, which is why I have my opinion on that, but, I mean, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. Some people have said it's going to include a quick coupler, which I kind of doubt, honestly, and I kind of hope that they don't in a way, because obviously, knowing Caterpillar and previous models, it probably won't come with attachments, and you'd have to buy them off of Jason Nickel and all that, so... And also, like, I liked how the Tonkin did their linkage and all that. So I hope Diecast Masters kind of follows that precedent.
Right, I'm with you there. I have several big concerns. Obviously, number one would be quality, and a perfect example of this is, all you guys that are listening to this, Kevin, I'm not sure if you can post a link to the catalog or whatever, so they can kind of look at what we're talking about while we're talking about it. But if you look at the last page, it'll be page 34, and you take a look at the CT660 Lowboys, immediately my concern is quality. I mean, yes, they may be pre-production models, but looking at the new tooling for the trailer, that looks like crap would be putting it lightly.
And that's actually what I was going to get to here. That was on the list with the generic Lowboy, because they do not have the Trail King license like Norscot did. So
Correct.
They cannot produce the same Lowboy that Norscot did, which, honestly, Norscot did, well, this is the one of the few times you're going to hear me say this, they actually did a pretty good job on the Lowboy. It looks pretty good.
They did. They really, really did. My other main concern, of course, is going to be price. So we've already covered quality. Now we're going to talk about price. Are we going to be somewhere close to where Norscot was? Are we going to be a little higher where Tonkin was? Or I'd like to see them stay, at least for their initial run of models, in a fairly tight box, no pun intended. I'd like to see everything be somewhat affordable.
And please, no fucking, sorry. No twist ties.
Yes, no twist ties. But packaged in collectible metal tins would lead me to believe that twist ties are going to be a thing of the past.
Thank God, finally we're out of that.
But also, I want to talk about, I think going through this briefly, they announced 20 new toolings on top of the existing models that are already out there from Tonkin and Norscot. My concern is how many of these are actually going to make it to market in the 2016 fiscal year, because, again, this is just my opinion, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to release all of these new toolings at once, especially since they still are in charge of rebadging and rebranding the Tonkin and Norscot stuff. So what the most likely scenario that I can see unfolding is we'll see models like the 390F, the 910K, the 793 in 1 to 125 scale, and possibly the D11T in copper available at launch in 2016. That is just a guess. As far as the rest of the models that they have on here that are, quote, what is the quote? I want to make sure I get this right. Quote, in development. I'm not holding my breath until I see those, because, I can name at least 2 instances off the top of my hand where either Northscott or Tonkin announced a product and said it's in development, it's in the final stages, we've got to get approval from Caterpillar, yada, 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 and the model never showed up in any iteration.
Now, I was actually going to get to that, but I had something to say, but I kind of forgot it, but...
I know.
I got it. The
Okay,
390F, if that does not come out that next year, early next year, which it's supposed to, then these guys are the laziest motherfrickers that I've ever seen. If they do not get that thing out, because we've heard about it for so long from Northscott, then somebody kicked their candy asses out, to quote The Rock. The only reason I know that is from YouTube. I fell asleep watching a construction video and I ended up listening to him saying, "I will beat your candy ass" in my sleep. Imagine the dreams after that.
Yeah, I think that this catalog leaves a lot to be desired and a lot of unanswered questions. The top cover page says 2015 inaugural collection. Here we are in December, and there's not, to my knowledge, a single Diecast Masters model available for purchase right now. So I'm a little confused, and their website has not officially been launched yet. There is no contact information because I tried to reach out before we did this show and get some of these questions answered so that, I'm sure they were going to be the same questions all you guys that are listening to this show had. I was going to try and get some answers, and yet there's no way to contact anybody. So
now, let's put it this way. The list that we're going to go through is pretty much the highlights of it. And on the bottom of the list, there is no 555 skidder, and there is no 926M. That one, and funny enough, one of them is from Northscott, one is from Tonkin. Now the 555, I don't know about that. It wasn't in the catalog, and I've actually been asked probably about 5 or 6 times on the Moto News 101 Instagram about that. And I also got asked about what their website is, and I told them that there is no official one.
Right.
Now, the 926, Northscott, I think they sort of canceled that themselves.
Yeah.
And the 555, I heard that they were in production in June.
What I heard a slightly different story from a very reliable source within the Tonkin organization, that Caterpillar would not approve it. I could not get the exact specifications as to why Caterpillar wouldn't approve it, but that was one of the reasons why that was scrapped. Because think about it this way. Tonkin replicas produced, at least 2, maybe 3 models after the license was pulled. Yes, they were recolors, but they were still Caterpillar branded models. So I don't believe for a second that they didn't have time or they couldn't get the 555 out before, the licensee was up. So that's the story I heard. Now, as far as the 926 goes, it makes sense that Northscott canceled that because you have, the 930 and the 938, which are basically the same thing.
And the 924, which they just got a new shipment of,
right.
in June.
Right. So you already have, loaders in that size class, in that weight class. So it makes sense that they would cancel that.
Yeah, and they were also, I guess not. No, actually, it's not on the list. There was also some other loaders that Northscott were just going to make, and they announced last year. But obviously, they say they're going to do stuff just to impress the bosses, and they don't actually do it.
Well, at the Toy Fair, they did announce the 2 underground machines, which we're now seeing as,
And they were canceled.
And they were canceled, absolutely. But now we see them back as Diecast Masters models.
Yeah. Now, the next thing on the list is the 320 and 323F. So, and my good friend McLean Joyce, 336 DL100, by the way, Cat 336 DL100, he pointed out that he's probably going to get the 323, which this makes absolutely no different. They're probably not going to be any different models, but on the real machines, the engines have nearly double the horsepower for the 323. But obviously, the models themselves do not have motors, so I guess it won't matter. But they're pretty much probably going to be the same casting with different decals.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it would be somewhere similar to the 320 and the 323 that Norscott did.
Yeah,
Again, just rebadged.
exactly. That, I mean, Northcott has a pretty good. Well, they had a pretty good thing about doing that, including with the 330 and 336. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but they probably did like a shit ton more that I'm not thinking about. Because hey guys, it's Northcott.
Well, and like you were mentioning before we went on air here, if you look at if you look at page 16 at the catalog, for those of you that are following along, I feel like we're in a Bible study class or something.
Yay.
At any rate, if you look at page 16, you'll see the 950M, 966M, and 972M. Kevin, you brought up that they're probably just going to be the K version is just going to be rebadged as the M version with very little changes.
Actually, that is confirmed. My McLean was good enough to actually be Snoopy again and figure it out. And yeah, he examined the pictures real closely, and he also talked to some people.
Well, there you have it.
Now, next up is the D9T and 150 scale. This is a new casting, is from what we understand.
Correct, and arguably, that's probably the model that I'm most looking forward to. And you're probably thinking, well, why in the world would you pick that over a zero tail swing excavator or whatever? And that's because if you look at the line of cat dozers, going all the way back to the Joel days and the NZG days, there never really was a metal tracked D9. So it'll be nice to have, a D9 with metal tracks to kind of round out the Caterpillar range.
Now, you can say the D9 is sort of the forgotten brother of the group.
Right.
Because, I mean, we've had so many D8s. And also, that's something else I'm going to have to get into here shortly. You got the D7E, and there wasn't that many D7s either. But we've had plenty of D5s, D6s, D8s. We've had quite a few D10s, and God, how many D11s? Sorry.
Way too many. I mean, you had the D11R series, the D11T series.
The D11R CD.
Yeah, the carry dozer. Yeah, I mean, it's just...
And all the different variations of colors.
Right.
I'm not going to say specifically.
And one color, yeah, I knew you were going to say it, and the one color that we shall not name.
It starts with a B, ends with a Z, and it's not booze.
And there were 1,250 made that disappeared overnight into thin air.
And unfortunately, that thin air is not Tommy's collection yet.
Yeah.
Who has
for those of you that didn't watch the episode, just to give a quick recap, I have, and this is no exaggeration, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, I have every single Norscott Caterpillar model ever made in every scale except for the bronze D11T.
He said it, not me.
Yeah, and I have spent countless hours trying to find one, and I got close.
Now you can't say you're missing just one. You're missing a second one. That's the silver 365 pictured.
True, but that wasn't a mass-produced official model. So that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, the 365 was mass-produced, but I mean, not the silver.
Yeah, not the silver one, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about the mass-produced official item number models.
Yeah.
The only one I don't have, and I know that stupid number by heart, is 55217.
Now, that's it. I'm going to officially number the Model News 365 MN001.
There you go.
I have to. You had to bring up model numbers. It's now the MN001.
Speaking of, whoever ends up getting that model
is a lucky son of a bitch.
Because Sal did a fantastic job on the repaint of that.
Which it is pictured on screen so you guys can see it and bask in all of its glory.
Yes. So, Sal, I know. Speaking for me, I totally appreciate you doing that, man. I mean, you did a fantastic job on that thing. So whoever gets that is going to be a lucky SOB, as you said. So, anyway, moving along with the catalog. What was the next thing we were going to talk about? the 1 to 125 scale mining truck that they're trying to pull off as an HO scale model. No.
It ain't happening. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, if it comes out at 1 to 125 scale, and I'm sure there is some rhyme or reason that they did that, but the 793 is the truck in question that we're talking about. That's going to be what, smaller? Yeah, I guess it would be. It would be smaller than the already existing Cat 772 off-highway truck in 187 scale.
Which, I mean, there's gonna be that one kid on Instagram that thinks he's cool because he owns a 793.
And that one cool kid will probably be me because I will probably pick that model up. But I'm just saying that it makes no sense to me why they made it in that scale. There's nothing else you can pose it next to without it looking completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but there is those little toy state or whatever, those things you can buy at Walmart. Those sad excuses for models.
Yes.
And by sad excuse, I mean they really are. I mean, no moving bucket whatsoever on the 320E. The only real good ones that was like the 797 or something. I think it was. It was a pretty decent sized model too.
Yeah, they made in the larger scale. They made a 390. They made a off-highway truck, which I think was the 797, and they made a D11T.
Which might I add, one kid thinks is 150th scale and thinks he's really cool because of it.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. There's one kid that thinks he's really cool because he owns a D11 that is like way too small.
Well, to each their own, as they say, right? But
Yeah.
but no, some of the Toy State HO scale models I think are pretty decent. I mean, they made a CT660 cement mixer, which looks decent. The D7E, which I think is 1 to 83 scale, is close enough to pass. I mean, there's a difference between, Kevin, you got to admit, there's a difference between 183 scale and 1 to 125 scale. So
just a little bit, not much, just a tiny bit. I mean, that's like there's a small difference between 150th and 118 scale. There's not much, but there's a little bit.
All right, so you wanted to talk about, which is a very good point, you wanted to talk about these models that have been around for a long time, 2 models in particular that have gotten a much-deserved upgrade. So elaborate on that.
The 924 has made a decent comeback. I mean, a lot of people sought after it once they realized it was getting harder and harder to get. We've got models like the 345 BMH, which has not been listed on 3,000 Toys for quite some time. There's quite a few models getting a nice little comeback. Now, 2 in particular that's getting a nice little upgrade is the D8 and D11 dozers, the D8 and D11R dozers. They're getting a facelift with some nice metal tracks. So all you people that bought the Conrad dozers and stripped them of their tracks or whatever, feel pretty stupid for yourself unless you came up with the idea. In that case, you're a genius. But otherwise, they are getting a facelift with metal tracks. Now, the quality of the tracks is unknown because obviously none of us have them and probably won't have them for another year.
Right.
But actually, I could see them coming out next year since it's just a minor upgrade.
Well, I mean, that all depends. It depends on the quality of the tracks. It depends on if they have to move the drive sprocket or make it bigger, make it smaller to complement the tracks. Who knows? I mean, that's what I said, opening the show. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, and I do not want to blast Diecast Masters. That's not my intent at all. I'm just saying from a business standpoint, for a first-year company, releasing all of these models at one time makes absolutely zero sense to me, and I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Next up on the list is that 12, 16, and 18 M3 graders. Now then, if you bought the 16M CCM grader,
which I did,
and I was going to say MEH diecast as well, but I mean, their CCM is going to always be impeccable quality, but I've heard people say since they're releasing the 349F, which we'll get to actually pretty soon, since they are releasing that. We call them the poor men's CCM because it's basically the same size and all that. It's just a lot less detail. But the M3 graders have completely new graphics and all that compared to the M2. And honestly, I would get the 16M because that's the most common grader we see around here, and I kind of do like the M3's design.
I think it's interesting that they're making, or they say they are going to make, let me rephrase that, the M18 M3 in 1 to 50th scale color variation of chrome. That's interesting to me.
That was next as well.
Yes, that's very interesting to me.
I think, isn't that like the second largest size grader?
Well, the 24 is the biggest.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say second to biggest.
And I have a theory, again, just a theory, but that chrome grader sounds like it's going to be a commemorative piece because I actually just picked up a couple days ago the 10th anniversary, or no, the 50th anniversary, excuse me, of the cat grader being produced at the facility in Illinois. So if it comes out in 2016, I mean, that's sort of close to 60 years. So I can see that being a 60th anniversary piece of the cat grader. Just a guess.
Let's put it this way: when you get up to the bigger size, once you get past towards when you get past the 16M, you get some real bigums.
Yes.
And that's not my word. It's actually a lady I know that works at a cat plant. She calls the bigger size stuff bigums.
That must be a southern term that I'm not familiar with.
I didn't hear the people at Rotec say that, so and I've been on the phone with them quite a bit.
I love the people at Rotec. They're some fantastic people.
Linda.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, true. Now the next up is the 390F, which we alluded to, which will more than likely be out since it's been announced for forever now. But this time it's been upgraded. I mean, we've seen it upgrade already with the opening doors and stuff, which we have a pretty good tip that was not supposed to happen with Norscot, which is actually pretty feasible considering that Norscot is lazy and fucking retarded. Sometimes.
I think it's conceivable that the reason that it wasn't released was because, they're so darn expensive to manufacture large excavators, and that's why the price of most excavators is so expensive, and a lot of people don't realize that. So I can very easily see the 390F, retailing for well over $200, which I certainly hope doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
I can see it happening.
I mean, you got all these opening doors and stuff, which we've seen, and all these details and all, but they upgraded it again, and they added a black bucket, which is supposedly impressive or something. I think it makes it look better, honestly, but,
Yeah, time will tell. I mean, like I said, we can sit here and speculate for hours on end. We are just giving our opinions. Both Kevin and I have been around the modeling world for, I don't know, how long have you been doing this, Kevin? I've been doing it 20 years.
Divide what you've been doing by half, and you got it.
Okay, so you got 30 years combined experience just stating our opinions on what we think is going to happen.
Well, actually, 4 years and 355 days. So on Christmas, it'll be 10 years since I got my first model and built from that.
Good Lord, how's that for specifics?
Yeah, actually, you hit her right on the head.
Now, the 910K wheel loader, Norscot previously announced that model. Again, that was one of the ones they announced at the Toy Fair last year. Or no, it would be this year, 2015. I'm interested to see what the price range of that is going to be, especially because it's in the larger 1 to 32 scale.
Yeah, and I mean, that was also on the list. And also, we got the 132nd scale D-Series skid steers. Unfortunately, they did not make the 289, which is my all-time favorite skid steer, for reasons that probably everybody knows by now if you follow my Instagram. And I'm also kind of sad that they didn't make the 321, but my good friend Kevin Drennan, who has ties to CCM, says that there's a surprise in store.
Yes.
So maybe we get a 148 321?
Who knows? But I also have some connections to our friends on the West Coast, as I call them. And I don't anticipate seeing any more 1 to 48 scale models because right now they're really focusing hard on the D10, which is in 1 to 24 scale. I don't see any any new 1 to 48 scale models coming out before March of April of next year. So that kind of gives all of us who are in massive debt a time to catch up. Just FYI.
Tommy and MEH.
Yeah. So, no, I love CCM's products. I've never had a single issue with any models that I've purchased from them or from one of their reputable retailers.
Now, the only issue I've had is with the 385, and that's because the cylinders are so damn loose. Like, they will not support the boom unless they're all the way up, and even then, they fall after a couple seconds.
So what's the story behind you getting the 385? When did you purchase that?
Last year.
Last year? Okay.
Yep.
I don't know why, but I was oblivious to this for some reason.
But it's a nice model, don't get me wrong, but the cylinders, if they were a lot stiffer, that it'd be nicer. I don't know, it's probably not, I've had people say it, and it's like hit or miss, because I don't think Sal's was like that. Of course, obviously, R. Mitchell Excavating has that now. I mean, he wants to be called Ziggy now, I forgot. I made a promo for the Model News 24 like a couple months back, and I called Mitch Ziggy by mistake. Not really. And he's taken that as his new nickname.
Interesting.
So, but... And the 385 is a nice piece. The 390 is pretty nice, except for you have to do a little bit of filing to get it down perfect, so the bucket curls in and out all the way.
That's what I've heard. The only excavator that regular size excavator that I own is the 349. I do have the brand new large mining excavator, which is amazing, but expensive.
Put emphasis on expensive.
Yes, 60. It's the 6020B for those that are not familiar. I was lucky enough to get one from BRI at the MSRP price, and not what these crazy retailers on eBay are now charging for them. So,
like all CCM models.
Yes.
By the way, guys, Buffalo Road Imports, great place to get your models. They have a lot of rare NZG cats, and pretty much everything to suit your needs. They even have the Case 590L, which I've been trying to get for quite some time, but even though it comes with a pack with another case excavator, that will probably go in my garbage can because it's Case.
I appreciate the plug there, Kevin. But yes, Buffalo Road Imports, ConstructionScaleModels.com, anything that you're looking for, I'm sure that you'll find something there to suit your needs. Not only that, but they have custom attachments. They have, little figures, diorama accessories. If there's anything that's anything in construction, they've got it. So make sure you check them out for sure. And tell them that I sent you, please.
And also, another advertisement space. This is not a paid advertisement because we don't get paid for anything that we do here. Not even YouTube because apparently we're too vulgar. No, just kidding. The show is brought to you by the great people at DiecastEmporium. For the most precise and best reviews out there, be sure to check out DiecastEmporium with new videos uploaded weekly.
Wow, that was professional and nice. Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's funny because I never even promoted my own channel on here, but I don't think I can say I'm professional after that last review with Tyler. Now that was like him and me giving a tribute to Western Star Nigel because he's off doing work and he can't have fun anymore.
Well, I've said this before. My YouTube channel is intentionally kept at a PG level because I have many. Excuse me, I got a frog in the back of my throat apparently. Anyway, a lot of my viewers are very young, and I've gotten messages from parents saying, hey, we appreciate, we allow our kids to watch your videos because you don't cuss or you don't, make any obscene jokes or gestures. So that, and of course, now that I'm in a partnership with a company, obviously that magnifies things as well. So
you see, he's got me there. I mean, my ADHD, it always gets me.
Yeah. Anyway, back on topic.
Yeah, again, we get sidetracked easily on this show. If you're new to it, well, get used to it. The CT 680 and 681 dump truck and cement mixer.
Yes.
Which is completely new from the CT 660 that we all have grown to know and hate. Well, it wasn't that bad.
I'll say this: there is is a guy right now, and I'm not going to name his eBay username because I don't want to get sued. But there's a gentleman who takes CT660s and like converts them into West Coast logging style trucks and a bunch of other things, and sells them for a ridiculous amount of money. And if you actually go on eBay right now at the taping of this show, what is today, the 15th of December? There's one on there that's like $160 with like 2 days left on it.
Yeah.
So, I guess more power to you, dude. But I mean, it's still a CT660.
And wasn't it diecast, or wasn't that like Mini Movers or Walter Mull? He got to see the CT680 and 81. He said they are models that will be very impressive.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, if Walter said it, then absolutely there's some truth to that. So
yeah, and I don't know Walter that well. I mean, I've had exchanges with him, not negative exchanges. So, but that's because I don't get out much because my girlfriend has me kept up in a jail.
Likewise, but my girlfriend would be WORK. So yeah.
Here comes the work. Here comes the work. Oh shit! I should have got out a long time ago. Next up is the as aforementioned. Sorry.
I was going to say we're probably going to say the exact same thing, but we're going to talk about the 432 F2 and the 420 F2 backhoes.
Yeah, that one. I was actually going to go towards the generic lowboy, but yeah, let's go for yours.
All right, so the backhoes, obviously one of them is geared towards the European market with the side shift mechanism and stabilizers, and the other one being the 420 F2. IT, yes, is geared toward our market with, unfortunately, that annoying IT part that Kevin...
Now, I must say this, and you know what's about to come. I hope to God that we do not get that annoying ass 4-in-1 bucket that we've seen for the last 15 years.
Yes.
That felt so good.
You feel better now? You good?
Yeah, I'm looking at my 420D that has a 924 bucket and realizing that there is a fix, but I don't know about the Diecast Masters.
Yes. Well, according to the pre-production, it's not even a pre-production, it's a real machine photo on the catalog. Again, for those of us who are following along, page 12.
Bible study.
Yes. It looks like it's going to have a somewhat decent reach, but it is an IT mechanism. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I hope we get the bucket that's in the photo, but I doubt it.
I hope we get the lift height of the real machine. That's my concern. I could live with a 4-in-1 bucket as long as it clears the side of a dump truck. And that was the issue with the Norskow ones.
Yeah, and also my 420E. You know why you don't see that on Instagram?
Because you destroyed it?
No, but I'm about to. The linkage came upside down on the rear bucket.
The linkage came upside down?
I'll have to send you a picture. Yes, the linkage came upside down on the rear bucket. I thought it was like that originally. Then I looked at my old one, and I also looked at Google, and I realized mine's not wrong, or mine is wrong. Pictures don't lie.
All I'm saying is, when NZG models that were made in the early 90s dwarf anything that's been made in the past 20 years in terms of backhoe loader 150th scale models, there's a problem there.
And I'm actually thinking about getting like the 436, I think it is, the IT one. I got the 416, which is a superb model.
Yeah, I believe I just picked up the 436, so if you want to check that video out, I think I did a video on that, at least an unboxing of it. Because it's the one with the 4-wheel steering, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you were going to talk about the generic lowboys.
We mentioned this before, that Diecast Masters does not hold the license to Trail King, which is still, as far as we know, held by Norskott. So they have to come up with their own lowboy, which, honestly, guys, it looks flippin' awful.
I second that, and I'll tell you what it looks like, at least the gooseneck mechanism. If any of you guys who are out listening own a 1/87 scale Tonkin lowboy, it looks identical to that. And that gooseneck mechanism and that lowboy trailer is not something that I would recommend, and that's saying it nicely.
And also, there is one that comes with a low boy, the CT681, I believe it is.
Yes,
One of the
that's gonna come with the grader, correct?
yeah, the is it the 16th?
No, it's the 12.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, that's a 187. Oh wait, no. I'm reading my notes wrong. There is a 187, 681, and 12M3 coming out.
Yeah.
As well, so there's at least they're dipping into the different scales market. But yeah, there will be one with the low boy and the 12M3 as a set, like Northscott used to do.
Yep, and I find it very interesting that, again, in their in development column, they have, and I'm reading this right off the catalog, guys, 150th scale Cat CT680 day cab tractor with lowboy trailer and Cat 12M3 motor grader. Yet if you scroll down, all the way down to the bottom,
You can hear him vigorously scrolling.
New tooling for trailer Cat CT660, which, yes, it's a different tractor. But it's interesting that they would make two of them at the same time. That's peculiar to me.
Yeah. So again, generic lowboy, no fly zone. Put it in whatever terms.
Yeah.
And I would have made a joke about that from Family Guy from Stewie, but. And next up is this 745C. Now, this is not going to be just the same as the Northscott 740B, because, and it can be because the front ends are completely different, or at least the grill area, and it's actually a bit bigger. I've seen both trucks in real life, and there is quite a bit of a size difference.
Yeah, there's the 745 when compared to the 740 absolutely is a lot bigger. The wheelbase is bigger, the tires are bigger, the dump body's bigger, everything's bigger.
And also, if they try to pawn it off on us and re-decal the 740, I can tell them right now they're flipping stupid because, let's put it this way, the front ends are completely different.
Yeah,
they
absolutely are. They're a whole new generation from what was released, a couple years ago by Northscott.
Yeah, so, and the 1/32 scale D-Series skid steer, which I've given my 2 cents on, aka 289. But we will see a 259 and a 252, I think it was.
Unless I'm missing something, I'm seeing 242 and 259.
Yeah, you're probably right. I knew there was 2 2s in there.
Yeah.
And the return of the good old 330D.
Oh yeah, one of everyone's favorite model, and for good reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I have one. I have one 336. Well, I got 3 336s. One of them, the shear just went off to Mr. P. Crocker Diecast Construction page, and I just let him have it pretty much, And yeah, so now I got a 336 without a stick, but that's fine.
Didn't you refer to him, myself, and Kale? What was the quote you used? The Three Musketeers or something?
Yep, that's it. Compared to me, Joe, and Kevin Drennan, or CatMac 316, we're the Three Stooges with ADHD.
Oh, man.
No, wait, we're the Three Stooges on some weird drug. That's it.
Interesting.
Because we always seem to mess things up whenever the three of us do a show together. It's more like me and Kevin are off in La La Land and Joe's trying to get us back into shape.
Yeah, that seems like the more likely scenario.
And that's like the ongoing theme with the K-Cup and Joe. I keep getting sidetracked with weird stuff, and Joe's just like, okay, well, next up on the list.
Well, I have to say this about Kevin Drennan. I don't know him personally, but he seems like he'd be like the most awesome dude to just spend a day with all of his real machinery that he has.
AKA a D2 for his wife and a D4 for him.
Yeah.
Because he has to have the bigger dozer.
Nothing against you and Joe, but if I could spend a day with him and run his equipment, my God, that'd be awesome. So,
yeah, true. I
think we managed to successfully get off track for the upteenth time, though.
And piss me off. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Kevin is the really cool guy. He was begging me to come up to the HCEA show this year. And I would have too if my aunt hadn't passed away at the time, but
Yeah.
you know,
Priorities.
yeah, priorities. I would have much rather been there, but apparently I have to be there to show emotional support or something like that.
Yeah, it's called being an adult. It sucks most of the time.
My heart was there, as well as my eyes on my phone watching everybody else tease me because I wasn't there, but you know.
You know what? I just noticed something. In the 187 scale items, page 20, the D9T, they painted the top of the engine housing and the cylinders for the bucket and the edges of the bucket black, which was not the case on the Norscot release of that model. So that's interesting.
Wait, the what?
So the D9T.
Oh yeah, I was thinking you was referring to the 150 there for a second. I zoned out.
No, the 187 scale one.
And looking back, I thought you would have said I'd also like to spend a day with the other Kevin too.
Yes, I also would like to spend the other day with Kevin and see if we can get chased off a million construction sites.
Yes!
And borrow some signs.
Fun! No, I seriously got chased off of... Well, I didn't get chased off, but I got stalked by these Great X guys.
Well, actually, when I was 16, so...
About my age. Well, actually, exactly my age.
About your age. I did some stuff that I wouldn't recommend anyone doing either, but there's an asphalt company in Southern Ohio called Barrett, and they have a very very impressive yard. I mean, they've got a ton of Beardkin milling machines. They've got Road Tech shuttle buggies, tons of cat pavers, rollers from every different manufacturer you can think of. So I decided, hey, I was 16, I just got my license, just got my car, I was going to take a drive down there and, just go into the yard and take some pictures. Well, apparently there's something called trespassing, and I got chased out by the gentleman security guard, and in a not so polite way asked not to return.
Forget trespassing. You know what rhymes with trespassing?
No, but I think you're going to tell me.
You're almost right. It's called don't worry. If you get caught, you get caught. Either way, you'll come back eventually.
Well, see, now me being in law enforcement, that changes a whole lot. So.
Oh, well, I did not just say that. But that's coming from the guy who has a stolen danger construction area keep out sign.
Yes,
nailed to a wall behind him, which I shouldn't even have admitted in the last show or this one.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm not giving you a Eric Cartman golden ticket for those South Park people who will pick up on that.
I have a golden ticket.
But until you turn 18, basically all of your crap gets just totally washed off your record. I mean, unless you do something absolutely horrible. So if you get nailed for trespassing when you're 16 years old, I mean, it didn't affect me any.
I have a golden ticket.
No, Kevin, that's not what I meant. I'm just saying.
Okay, kids, here's the bare basics. If you want to go on a construction site, first off, make sure nobody's watching. No. Second off,
make sure you ask.
No. Second off, if there's somebody from the company or a law enforcement officer, hide beneath the machinery to the best of your ability. Third off, if it's muddy, cover yourself in mud. They won't see you. And also, don't bring any weapons, spray paint, and don't bust any windows. Don't bring a cat key. And for God's sakes, do not piss or take a number 2 on any of the equipment. That still counts as vandalizing.
I grew up in a time where you could go see these machines up close. You can climb on them, you can sit in them and pull the joysticks and levers, and nobody cared. I mean,
what do you think I did at the roundabout site for that 3 or 4 months?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, that's the world where I think we need to get back to. Not this, oh, you trespassed, or oh, you touched this machine, and, you left muddy footprints inside my operator's cab, I'm going to sue you and your parents. I mean,
it's called Windex.
Yeah, let's be real, guys. Come on. I mean, what little boy / man isn't fascinated by this stuff and wants to see it up close? I mean, I don't see a problem with sitting in the operator's cab. I mean, I understand that the contractor thinks, oh, we can't do this because, God forbid, somebody falls, we got a lawsuit. if you're dumb enough to fall off the side of it, maybe you should be facing a lawsuit. I don't know.
Or maybe you shouldn't even be there at all.
Exactly.
I
Maybe
mean,
you should
be
be wearing a straight
realistic. I
edge.
mean, if you can't handle being around the equipment and act somewhat mature, man, I'm really contradicting myself.
I'm glad I didn't have to say anything.
Well, and
But no,
honestly,
I mean,
here's the thing. No, you can joke about me as much as you want. I actually, as someone who conducts his um, time at construction sites in a professional manner, don't do any things I just said. Besides, don't vandalize the equipment and don't do anything you would not do if your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, or whoever is watching and they would not approve of.
right.
Even if you are alone, conduct yourself in a professional manner like the owner of the company was there and you're trying to impress them with your actions.
And a lot of times, I mean, especially if they're on lunch or if they're waiting for a piece of equipment to arrive or a mechanic to arrive or whatever, if you go up and ask, they'll let you take pictures or, walk around or do whatever you need to do.
Now, at the roundabout site, they pretty much had to because I lived within the construction limits and I could pretty much do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Yeah, there is that.
So know
Anyway.
this,
Back to the catalog, Kevin, before we get ourselves in trouble.
Oh, I'm not gonna get in trouble. You might get that. You might get that hotline and red phone call.
Well, yeah, not even gonna go there.
The 349F again, pretty much going to be a low detail version, completely different version of the 349 ECCM released. So if you did not get your chance to get that, or you just cannot afford it because for whatever reason, here's your chance to get a 349, even though it still won't be to the quality of the E. And
Yep.
and no quick coupler, so in your face, people. Because I love my quick coupler, and it hasn't broken on me yet.
So I want to say, in theory here, if all of the models that are, quote, in development do make it to the market, I have to give Diecast Masters kudos because I would love to see a zero tail swing excavator and a D9. That's something we've never seen before.
Now here's the thing, I find this very weird. Not to get too far off track. Well, it probably will go there anyways. Every time we on one of our shows that we mentioned that we want to see a model, for some reason we get it.
Okay, so this is a great time for me to mention I would really, 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 really love to see the drag line by Cat.
This would be an amazing time to say, please put a thumb on the 340D since you're already re-releasing it. Might as well, make a couple modifications and call it new.
Or make a... I mean, there are existing thumb kits out there, which, by the way, product plug, you can purchase at Buffalo Road Imports. But if you want one that's already affixed to the model, I would say it would probably look better maybe on a 349 because you'd have a bigger thumb in that case, which would look cool.
Yeah, true, but I mean, you never know. But still, there's still a lot to be desired. There's so many different models. God, I'm starting to sound like you already. That's not a bad thing either. But I mean, there's still, a lot of different models that we would kind of like to see. I'd like to see a new Cat asphalt paver, maybe something in the 1055 range.
Yep, totally agree 100%. I want to see compact equipment in 1/50th scale. I want to see compact track loaders. I want to see mini rollers, mini pavers.
No, we're not seeing that mini paver from Cat. That thing is too damn ugly.
I don't care if it's ugly or not. I still want one.
It looks like a Smurf that got in yellow paint.
Well, as somebody who owns the NZG Vogler mini paver, I guess that would really look like a Smurf then, in your words.
Now, here's the thing, though. We also got that little Virgin 35 or W35 DC, that little sidewalk thingy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it's the size for.
Yeah. And I love both those models. I love compact equipment. That's what I want to see. For God's sake, we've got enough front loaders. I know this is going to hurt your feelings, Kevin, but we've got enough excavators with the exception of a zero tail swing.
That doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I love the fact that you exclude the zero tail swings.
I want to see more diversity, and I think I speak for most of the collectors out there. And there is a huge Caterpillar collector fan base out there. So if there are any model manufacturers who are actually listening to our little YouTube show,
Hopefully there is. Thank you for your continued support.
Kevin's YouTube show that I'm guest starring on. I don't want to take credit for that. Excuse me.
Well, I mean, this is technically our show since you're on this one, so.
At any rate, we want the D word. We want diversity. So come out with some stuff that we've never seen before. Great. You did a D9. Awesome. Or you're planning on doing a D9. Great. You're doing a 335. Great. Fantastic.
Now, let's get a 150 scale cat skid steer that does not cost $300.
Yeah.
Because, for Christ's sake, an MEH, great guy, too much money on his hands. If he can buy two of those.
Well, actually, the second one he bought, he turned into a multi-terrain loader, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And yes, he is a great guy, and in my opinion, he can spend his money whatever the hell way he wants to spend it because he deserves it.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he works hard.
Yes, that man is a hard-working man with a great little family. So, Sean, if you're listening, big props to you, bro. Anyway, so what haven't we covered?
The M318F wheeled excavator. Finally, we're getting a new cat wheeled excavator, and let's hope it's not a dud like that M316 that we got however many years ago.
Yeah, 2007.
Now, here's the thing. Let's hope there's no quick coupler because that was the thing that ruined that model. Let's hope there is no three-piece boom because I'm getting kind of sick and tired of three-piece booms on wheeled excavators. They're great and all, but there's no real diversity with that. Now, if they could release a version of both, that'd be great. But please, no quick coupler. And I think that's really just about it.
I'd love to see a new track loader as well.
Yes. I would love to see maybe a 973.
Yeah, that'll work.
Or a 953.
Well, NZG did a 953 years back, which is still a fantastic model. I own one.
CCM did one too, but it's brass and way out of price range of any sensible human being. Except for Cranes, etc., because he has money for everything.
I'll tell you, if money wasn't an option and I didn't have bills and obligations coming out my rear end, one thing that I would love to own is back in, 95, CCM released like a 1:87 scale 12-piece set.
Yes.
Oh my god, I would love to have that.
Joe got the PM2.
Cold planer.
Yeah, and that was for like $12.
Yeah, Joe knows where I stand on that. I've told him I've probably watched that video like 50,000 times, just salivating over it.
I know. Let me put this in Kevin terms for how Tommy felt. How the fuck did you get that?
I mean, it isn't perfect. Let's be honest. The previous owner, I guess, glued something to it, and I don't believe, I could be wrong. I don't believe it came with the original box. But still, nonetheless, I mean, if you know anything about me, DiecastEmporium, you know my area of expertise is asphalt stuff. So, obviously, I'd love to have one of those, and the paver and the roller in 1:87 scale. But that alone will set you back easily over $1,000.
And also, you want the Road Tech paver.
I have the Road Tech paver.
Oh, crap. Now I just didn't... I was going to say that that's the one model I have that you don't, but god damn it, Tommy.
Dude, I've been doing this since I had a paper route when I was 5 years old. So
we don't have paper routes anymore. We just have a smart-ass lady with a very good throwing arm.
Oh, dude, it was great, man. I mean, I had my whole... Let's see, back then I lived in a cul-de-sac, or not a cul-de-sac, what's the word I'm looking for, subdivision, and I had 125 houses that I delivered the paper to every week, and I collected $2.50 every house, every month. But of course you have people that would tip, and around Christmas time, dude, I was clearing like $600-700 in tips. At 5 years old, 5, 6, 7 years old.
So if there's any prostitutes out there, leave your job and go to the paper route.
No, I'm saying if there's any younger viewers that are like 10 to 15 years
Which,
old.
which first off, they should not be watching this show because it is very inappropriate.
Yes.
And it's not on his part, it's on my part.
If they are watching and they want to begin this whole process of maturation and realizing the value of $1, get out there, get yourself a paper route. You're going to make some fantastic money, and better yet, you don't have to ask mommy and daddy to buy all your models for you. So,
or get a lawnmower like I had to.
Or cut lawns. That works too.
But first off, when you get $5,000, make sure to get a zero tail because that zero turn.
Zero turn, yes.
And I think
you're using my term.
Yeah, but I love my zero turn. I was about to say excavator for fuck's sake. My zero turn lawnmower. It's very nice, very fun. And next topic, the 950, 966, and 72M loaders, which is pretty much a rebranded Tonkin. They're great models and all, the 950 being the weakest of them, but...
Now, what I didn't notice, which I found particularly intriguing to me, I didn't see the 950 GC or the 340 excavator in this catalog. So I could be blind, that's entirely possible, but that's very interesting that they took out the rest of the world models with the exception of the D6R.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is the European, but the 432.
Yeah.
But next up is the 994K.
Yep, that is Cat. For those that don't know, that is Cat's largest wheel loader, primarily used in mining and quarry operations. Norscot released a 99H, maybe. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Because
Tonkin released one.
Yeah, Tonkin released the 99H, and Cat had. Well, this is going to drive me freaking insane. Norscot released one of them in their collector series brown box. All right, this is driving me nuts. I got to go look this up real quick. And then Tonkin, of course, a couple years ago released the 994H. So it's nice to see that 99F. Okay, so the Norscot was the 99F. The Tonkin replicas was the 99H, and now the Diecast Masters will be the 994K.
Yeah.
Got all that? Jeez.
Pretty much, Norscot and Tonkin released two loader models that you will probably never get, and now Diecast Masters is doing the same.
Yeah, but the 994K is a complete redesign. Like, if you actually look at the real machine, it looks totally different than its predecessors. The early stages of the 994s. It looks way, way different. Whereas the 994F and the 994H kind of resemble each other to a certain extent.
The one main difference in the model is different manufacturers.
Yeah.
Now, next up is the underground mining and loader and a haul truck, which were announced by Norscot, canceled, now brought back by Diecast Masters.
In my opinion, I don't believe those two models will be very big sellers because
they're not mainstream.
Right, and there already is an underground mining loader and an underground articulated dump truck that was released by Norscot that is still available in this catalog. So I don't understand their thinking or their ideology behind that. But
unless you work in one of those mines in Chile and still have not managed to gotten trapped down underground, then you might be interested.
Too soon, Kev, too soon.
It's been 4 years! Or 5 years, or however long. It's not like I'm making fun of the BP oil spill.
Yeah. All right, so going back to dozers, I want to get this in before I forget. And if we have anybody who's actually still listening to this point, I congratulate you and commend you. But I want to see a dozer with the impact ripper, like a classic machine. That'd be awesome.
True.
Like a D10 or a D11, almost like the Conrad version with a special kind of ripper, the impact ripper. I think that'd be freaking BA. So, more. So again, model manufacturers, if you're listening, Norscot tried to do this a little bit with their track excavators and their pipe layers. Bring back some classic machinery. I mean, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. And by the way, Diecast Masters, we do not want to see a 350.
No.
I'm saying that for the sake of Joe because I have the feeling that when he gets his done, they will finally announce one.
Dude, he has been meticulously working on that thing for I don't know how long, and it's going to look amazing when it's done.
I mean, Joe isn't like one of those people that throws customs together in 5 minutes. He's taken his time. He's made his own spec sheet that looks like something that Caterpillar would produce because he could not find his own spec sheet.
Yeah.
He scaled everything down from the real machine. He actually bought a spec sheet from Canada, I think it was, that took weeks to get there. He's just like hacking away at it like a boss.
I'm not familiar with the donor model. What did he start with? A 345 material handler?
No, he started with the 375, I think.
The 375 by Joel. Okay, gotcha.
I think. I'm not exact on that, but I think that is because I think he had 2 of them.
I know he had several because before I got mine, I was trying to get him to sell me one of his.
Yeah.
So
next up is the 187 scale CT681s and the 12M3.
Yes.
And again, 187 scale. So for all you HO collectors out there, which I am not one, which is actually kind of not surprising considering me. You know.
See him, and I know MEH. Well, let me totally start over. Scratch that. Joe has been doing HO for as long as I've been around, so let's give him his due diligence where it's due. Then I started getting into HO, I don't know, back early 2000s because they were cheap, affordable, and they were kind of cool. And now MEH is, I don't know if I just blew up a huge secret. I don't think it's a secret anymore, but he is now getting into HO scale models, and I think they're great. They're an affordable alternative to the 150th scale stuff, and there's just as much diversity out there as there is in 150th scale, except at a much, much, much more affordable price.
Now, here's the thing, though. For the love of God, Diecast Masters, please produce a Cat 150th scale roller and sheep's foot compactor.
Yes.
Please. The only thing we have right now in 150 scale that is, widely available, except for the Cat ones at Buffalo Road Imports. We're going to be mentioning them a lot for however longer this is going to go. The only ones you can get widely available are the ham ones, and every time I look at them, I want a piece of ham.
I have both of the ham ones, the smooth drum and the Padfoot one. And there's also a review on my channel, by the way, another plug. Both fantastic models, great models. But I'm with Kevin. I would love to see an updated Caterpillar one because Conrad, and then the newest one we've got is the NZG ones, and that was again 20 plus years ago. So
no way, we gotta say it in proper terms for cranes, etc. NZG.
For our maybe 1 or 2 fans that are listening to this across the pond, NZG. Yes.
No, you'd be surprised that besides the U.S. and Canada, there's not a bad audience over across the sea, and there's also that one person in North Korea. We've had one view from North Korea.
I have not yet had anyone viewing from North Korea, so that's interesting.
I think now I can swear to this. I was checking the analytics the other night that there is one view from North Korea. So I think a pissed off Asian midget loves our show.
Well,
with a very bad haircut.
With whatever the case may be, wherever you're from, we appreciate you supporting us and watching our videos.
Now, for the sake of getting nuked, I mean the dear leader. Because if I get nuked, you're all coming with me. Especially you, Tommy, because you're the closest.
Yeah. Here's the deal. As somebody who works inside the government, North Korea is not as big of a threat as everybody makes it out to be.
They got a hydrogen bomb.
Yes, but
But the chances of making it to the United States are pretty slim considering their
yes,
technology.
you guys had only an idea of the countermeasures that we have in place to intercept one of those. It would blow your mind. But
This isn't the Cold War, ladies and gentlemen. We have learned what shooting down missiles with missiles are.
obviously, the biggest threat. I don't know how we got on this topic, but obviously, our biggest threat is what we refer to inside the community as the homegrown terrorist. That being, of course, somebody who is an American citizen or a French citizen or pick a country, whatever, became radicalized and carries out a relatively small scale attack. But
San Francisco.
if you have small enough, or if you have numerous enough small scale attacks like we're seeing all over the world right now, obviously you're still getting your message across. It's still terrorism. There are still people dying, and we've never in our history we've never fought an enemy like this. You don't know who's who.
Yes.
For all I know, Kevin, you could be radicalized. I mean,
now.
I'm kidding, but my point still stands that your next door neighbor could be a jihadist. You just don't know.
Allahu Akbar. Now, do you refer to it as ISIS or ISIL?
The technical term is ISIL, just like
Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant.
Well, no, it's Syria, but it kind of gets goofy when you do the translation. That's beside the point. But I mean, it was the same story with UBL. I mean, inside the community, it was UBL for Osama bin Laden. Outside, everybody knew him as Osama bin Laden with an O, not a U. So,
well, I mean, like, here's the thing: the parties when he died were amazing. Of course, South Park predicted it, except for it is a completely different manner. He helped us, then we killed him. And it's South Park.
Was that the episode where they shot Santa's sleigh down?
No, that was when Jersey was invading the rest of the United States.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they were getting to South Park, they were defending their borders, and then they asked for Osama's help. He sent multiple airplanes, which was probably the funniest thing of the episode. Just seeing them crash for our sake. And then all of a sudden, Jersey goes back to the tiny shithole it is now. I'm sorry for anybody that lives in Jersey, but it's the truth.
Alright, so I think we've covered literally just about, in some detail, just about every model in here. I don't think we missed one.
Again, no 555 skidder and no 926M, but honestly, I don't know how. Like, the 926 will not be missed.
I was kind of looking forward towards the skidder personally, but
yeah, well, I think this is not the last we're going to see of it.
Yeah, who knows? So I think at this point we should probably just wrap this up and give our final thoughts. So, I mean, Kevin, if you want to go first and kind of sum this thing up, go at it, man.
Well, we talked a lot, and my arm has gone numb about an hour ago from holding my phone up to kind of steer around the audio issues that we've had.
Well, in that case, I'll talk for another 2 hours.
No, shit. But that only seems to be for recordings, and we should be good for the 24-hour live stream that coming up this weekend. Again, only for local recordings, which is what we use to upload on YouTube, so there should not be an issue. We've done vigorous testing, as always, and we are pretty well prepared for this 24-hour live stream, except for mentally, because we're all pretty much fucked in that case. But we're ready to go, and we have this 365 BL in silver to give away to one lucky viewer. And you never know, Tommy might be it. I might win it myself. Just kidding. I'd love to, but no one in Model News can win.
I think if I had somehow happened to win that model, I would have to do, I don't know, I'd have to do some sort of like parody video or something. I don't know. I'd come up with something hilarious.
A parody video?
Yeah, kind of like, how Cranes Etc. did the plunker models for the tower crane.
Yeah.
I think I've got something up my sleeve if I were to win that model.
It's funny enough because I don't have any sleeves. Long sleeves, that is. Oh, by the way, is there still any DiecastEmporium t-shirts available?
Actually, there are... Hold on. Box is right next to me. There are 2 large ones left.
And...
Unbelievably, the rest have all sold out.
Well, get them while you can because large is actually the only size model new shirt that we don't have.
Yeah.
But get them while you can. I'm lucky enough to have one, and they are great shirts. And they're hanging up along the likes of my own personal model new shirts that are now accompanying my wall and that ever so picked up off the ground, not so stolen construction sign.
Well said. To put a period on the DE t-shirts, the Diecast Emporium t-shirts, once they are gone, they are gone. It was a hassle and a half to get this done, guys. It was very, very expensive and very time-consuming. So there will not, at this point, be any more t-shirts produced of mine. So if you are thinking about getting one as of the taping of this show, there are 2 left. So you know how to contact me, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and I'm sure we can work something out.
As always, And also, there will be 6 white edition model news t-shirts given away in intervals of 4 hours at a time to you lucky viewers out there. And they will be made after, so I can get the sizes just right just to accompany you. Because, when you guess, sometimes you lose. So I want to play it on the safe side and get the sizes exactly for the people since there will only be 7 of these ever made. Ever, including the one for myself that is on display.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how expensive and time-consuming and, for lack of a better term, pain in the butt making custom T-shirts are.
Yeah.
It is extremely expensive. I mean...
Yeah, it is.
We certainly... I'm not going to speak for Kevin, but I certainly didn't make any money off of my T-shirts. I lost money. I did it because I love this community. I wanted to help get my name out there, and...
Well, here's the thing, though. I haven't made any money either because the shirts cost me $25 and I sold them for $20.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I'm dealt with.
So that's how it is. I haven't gained any money off of this at all, and the money that we make off of it, I don't take any personally. I actually, if we ever make a profit from anything model news related, I'll donate that right back into the program. Also, the Model News Fight for a Cure shirts that we sold, we pretty much sold out of them as well. All the money went towards a good foundation, the American Breast Cancer Foundation or whatever it was.
At least it wasn't Susan G. Komen.
Yeah, it wasn't. And we donated it all, and thank you guys very much. And I know they will benefit greatly from that. And just to put an emphasis, it was not Susan G. Komen.
All right, so
even though their pink livery IndyCar does look pretty good.
Agreed. So as for my closing statements, one, obviously, first and foremost, thank you, Kevin, for having me on. I enjoyed every second of it. Number 2, thank you to everybody who's actually stuck out the whole duration of the show and actually watched this on Kevin's channel. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys, so thank you for that. And lastly, Diecast Masters, I hope you're listening because the ball's in your court. There's a lot of optimism. And, hey, we're all very, very excited at what you can do. So the ball's in your court. Don't let us collect yours down. And, I can't wait to see what you guys do.
I gotta say this with that said, though. They've had some pretty big balls themselves making these bold announcements like this, and especially how many as they did.
Yeah.
So, also, one more note, the shipments of the WSI/Sword Pete 379 Lowboys and all that will be in tomorrow, and will ship tomorrow from DHS Diecast. The first shipment contained 50, and they are already sold out.
What was the MSRP on those?
The Lowboys $219. The trucks themselves were like $120, I think, $119.
So they didn't come as a set? You had to buy them separately?
No, they came as a set. The $219 was for the set.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood what you said. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
The trucks were $119.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'd never seen a flip axle before tonight, and I also see my first Western Star truck tonight as well.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I guess you don't have anything else to say?
Nope, that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.